Thai Cave Rescue. In June 2018, a group of 12 young soccer players from the Wild Boars team, along with their 25-year-old coach, Ekapol Chantawong, set off for what was supposed to be a fun cave exploration in the Tam Luang cave system in northern Thailand. The boys, aged between 11 and 16, often went on adventures together. They parked their bicycles outside the cave entrance and wandered through the winding tunnels. A sudden monsoon downpour unleashed torrents of rain, rapidly flooding the narrow passageways behind them. The rising water sealed their only exit, forcing the team to retreat further into the cave. With no clear path back, they eventually found themselves on a small rocky ledge, several kilometers from the entrance, surrounded by murky floodwaters. They were trapped, cut off from the outside world. For days, they sat in absolute darkness. The boys had no food and no way to call for help. The team's coach, a former Buddhist monk, encouraged them to conserve their energy and taught them meditation techniques to maintain their composure. As the days passed, their hope wavered, but at the same time, outside, panic spread as their disappearance was reported. Parents, villagers, and authorities launched a frantic search. Soon, the Thai Navy SEALs, international rescue teams, and elite cave divers from around the world joined the effort. Engineers attempted to pump out the water to create a path, while divers braved the treacherous currents, navigating the submerged tunnels in near-zero visibility. 9 excruciating days passed before 2 British cave divers, John Volanthen and Rick Stanton, finally located the missing team. When their flashlight beam pierced the darkness, they were met with the astonishing sight of 12 thin but alive boys, along with their coach. Rescuing the boys was an almost impossible task. The passages leading out were flooded, narrow, and dangerous. None of the boys knew how to swim, let alone how to use diving gear. The rescue team ultimately decided on an unprecedented strategy. Each boy would be sedated to prevent panic and fitted with a full-face diving mask. Then, they would be carefully guided through the submerged passages, one by one. The operation spanned 3 nerve-wracking days. On July 10th, the final boy and their coach were safely extracted. The world cheered their miraculous survival. However, the rescue was not without tragedy. Thai Navy SEAL Saman Kunan, a former diver, lost his life while delivering oxygen tanks to the submerged boys, while another rescuer, Beirut Pakbara, later succumbed to an infection contracted during the mission. Their bravery will forever be remembered. Recending Cave Rescue. On June 8, 2014, Johann Westhauser, a 52-year-old experienced caver, along with 2 companions, descended into Recending Cave, extending over 19 kilometers underground and reaching depths of 3,000 feet. The trio carried essential climbing gear, lights, and supplies, prepared for a long expedition through the cave's narrow shafts and twisting tunnels. For hours, they navigated the winding passageways, squeezing through tight crevices and rappelling down sheer rock faces. Suddenly, a rockfall broke loose from the ceiling. A heavy boulder struck Westhauser, causing a severe skull fracture and brain trauma. His companions rushed to check his condition. He was luckily alive, but disoriented and unable to move. So, one of the cavers began the long ascent alone, retracing their route to the surface. This required him to climb sheer rock faces and squeeze through tight crawl spaces. Every move was slow and deliberate to avoid injury or triggering another collapse. After 12 long hours, he finally emerged from the cave and sent an international distress call. What followed was one of the most complex cave rescues in history. Over 700 rescue specialists from countries like Germany, Austria, Switzerland, and Italy moved through steep drops, narrow passages, and near-zero visibility. They had to reach Westhauser and stabilize him before extraction. A makeshift medical station was set up inside the cave, where doctors administered fluids and monitored his condition. The next challenge was lifting an injured man up nearly 3,000 feet through the cave system. Rescuers placed Westhauser in a reinforced stretcher, carefully maneuvering through narrow tunnels and underground rivers. Some sections were so tight that they had to tilt the stretcher at extreme angles to fit through. Others required them to attach ropes and pulleys to elevate him up sheer rock walls. On June 19th, after 11 days underground, Westhauser reached the surface, where he was airlifted to a hospital and eventually recovered. Krishna Jama Rescue. On January 11, 2014, 2 cave explorers from Germany descended into Krishna Jama, a 16,000-meter-long cave system in Slovenia. The plan was simple: a weekend expedition to explore its remote water-filled chambers. As they ventured deeper, a sudden downpour outside sent surging floodwaters rushing into the cave. Within minutes, the once passable tunnels were submerged, and their exit route was cut off. They had no choice but to retreat to higher ground. With no way out and no means of communication, they were trapped in complete darkness. The temperature inside the cave was just above freezing, and their wet clothes only made the cold worse. When they missed their scheduled check-in, friends alerted Slovenian rescue authorities. Soon, a specialized cave rescue team was mobilized. The operation was anything but simple. Navigating through the pitch-black water-filled tunnels meant using diving equipment in tight spaces, where one wrong move could be fatal. For over 20 grueling hours, rescue divers fought against strong currents, maneuvering through the twisting, submerged passageways to reach the missing cavers. When they finally surfaced inside the air pocket where the explorers were trapped, the sheer relief on their faces was undeniable. They were exhausted, freezing, but alive. Getting them out was even more difficult. The flooded tunnels were too tight to swim through alone, and the cold had drained their strength, leaving them unable to swim. Rescuers fitted them with diving gear and led them through the dangerous underwater passages. After several hours, they finally reached the cave entrance, where medics immediately treated them for hypothermia.